What is up, Soul Path Warriors? It is I, Juniper Bloom Mystique. I am an Ascension Master, a Master Healer, and a Divine Guide. Since 2019, I've been doing things to the earth that blew my mind. If you guys haven't noticed, things are changing, right? We are in the end of ways. Some people call it the end of days, but it's the end of ways. The end of ways out of what was truth. And today I have something important to talk to you about. Very important, okay? This has to do with inversion. It has to do with a changed perspective. It has to do with full understanding of karma and the world that we came from and that we're going into. Okay? And I see this across the globe, across perspectives every day, across individuals in my healings, to videos on YouTube, to conversations that people have. And it's like there are two understandings of the world around us, right? There really truly are. And what I want to, this is a little bit complex, but we need a changed perspective. Okay, that's what God says is we need a changed perspective. And something came to me today, very important. If you've been watching my channel, watching my work, it's been a lot of Return of Christ stuff, from undoing the Sistine Chapel, clearing Mount Shasta, freeing Jesus' soul, undoing the Holy Grail, activating pyramids all over the globe. And in the work that I've done, I've brought back what once was, okay? We have a distorted version of the truth, and they did this to you on purpose, okay? And the way God showed me today, and I know this is a little bit to understand, it's a concept that takes a little bit to get there, but just hear me out, okay? Because it might just plant the seed that you need. There's so much information coming at you. There's so much information. And the thing is the shadow uses the truth so that you believe it, okay? And so then you're left with, well, which one do I believe, right? We are left with what is truth. What do I do? It's very confusing. And there's lots of distractions right now because we are in the end of ways. We are towards the end. We are in the midst or the end of the way the world used to be, right? But the beginning of a new way. And so that's where we're at. We're right about, let's say, the 3 days of darkness is right here. And when you come on the other side of that is the new earth. So here's that, right? And we're rising and rising and rising towards it. And we're like right about there. Right? And then once we hit the 3 days of darkness, it's like the great reset of mankind. That is an ethereal event. That is an event of Christ. Okay. So these things that I'm talking about today, take an ability to just be still, because it's a lot of it's beyond our mind of understanding, let alone activating pyramids, right? But Mount Shasta is important. So I want you to hear me out here. So one of the first things I did was I activated Mount Shasta. No, I'm sorry. Let me correct that. Let me skedaddle. Let me reverse it. Let me slow down. Because what we need is a changed perspective. It's about inversion. There was an inverted reality. Okay? And I'm going to fill you in on how that came about and what we need to do to be able to see correctly. Because if you don't heal your karma, you can't rise. All right? And so some spiritual people will say there is no spiritual warfare. And I'll be like, well, then what about my story? I lost a DM for this journey. So there is spiritual warfare. There is a battle for your soul. And what they want to do is give you the false perspective. They want you stuck in an inverted reality. And that's what God showed me today, is once you flip it upside down, you get like this mirrored image of what is truth. But we want to make it right. We want to flip it right. Okay? You want to have the right perspective, because that is going to be your key going through. And then you have to choose love through all that you did. Okay? So it's a little bit about understanding karma, because there's fear around karma. And there shouldn't be fear around karma. You have free will. God gives you power. You have power. You are a creator in the universal flow. Okay? And so not even darkness can do anything unless you give it permission to do it. right? And so in order to do that, in order to manipulate your free will, they give you an inverted perspective. So it's almost like an upside down image of the truth. And that's what God showed me today. I was doing my thing that I do, and all of a sudden I heard flip it. And so I flipped it, and I was like, that's it. That is the perspective of all perspectives. Okay, so feel me out. This is a little bit up there. It's a little bit in the ethereal, okay? But it's important to understand because these energies are off the charts. And we are like right about the 3 days of darkness, all right? So God showed me what they did to the truth, to the earth, was inverted it. It's like flipping it upside down and gave you a mirrored image. Okay, and they did that because they had to use that light. They used God's light. They used the truth and the power of the one, the elements. If you've watched my work, I've been undoing that. They trapped angelic souls. They did lots of things to take the power. And in order to, it's almost like if you're really wanting to manipulate somebody, you're going to give them little bits of truth. And then you're going to emotionally manipulate the shit out of them, right? That's what people do. Narcissist. And that's what I think why De La Roca calls it the narcissistic value, is because they don't have remorse and they gaslight the shit out of you. And it's like, it's all you. They don't have the right perspective. It's like this flat mirrored image. And that's my point here. And I hope you're with me. Now hear me out. There's lots of distractions right now from the spiritual community, especially. Oh my good Lord Almighty. I'm like watching it unfold, okay? I would hear people give bits of the truth, right? Like you reflect everything, everything's within you. We love the darkness, there is no soul battle. Some of that's true, but there is a battle, okay? And the battle was won. And if you know the, and I'm getting a lot of chills, if you know the truth to what happened to me, to my DM, back to Adam and Eve, Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and Sekhmet and Horus, if you know the truth, you're going to know it was a battle because they wanted God's light. They wanted God's power. Okay. Now, Mount Shasta is relevant here. I've talked a lot about Mount Shasta being darkness. It was. I cleared it out. When I first went to Mount Shasta back in 2020, I had no clue why I was going there. I thought, oh, okay, is this like a ley line? Because lots of spiritual people go there. It was darkness, okay? God told me Truman Show and Wizard of Oz. Now hear me out. If you really watch those, it's going to make sense to the work that I did. And I didn't get that till like halfway through. So I went to Mount Shasta and the energy. I can come out of my body. I do a lot of things remotely. Not remote viewing, it's beyond that. And so I went to Mount Shasta and I cleared out all of these souls that were trapped there. And these were souls of light. They're just lots of souls. So darkness needs sacrifice. They need bloodshed. They need very negative vibrational tendencies. But they couldn't just do that on their own. Okay? They had to steal God's light and God's knowing and God's power. And when I was first shown Mount Shasta, it had the triangle with the eye above it, which is the all-seeing Christ consciousness. And there was these tunnels underneath it, and they had all these trapped souls. And then in part 2, Archangel Samael, who was the original fallen, was underneath it, and he burned. Okay, so you've got to understand this because they took the Earth's root chakra from Fiji. They stole it from Fiji. And they closed down the portal of God's. And they took that power to Mount Shasta. Mount Shasta was never of light at all. It was an inverted reality of truth. Okay? It's like they took the Christ consciousness, they took what is truth, and they flipped it upside down. And then fed it to all of you. And of course, you're going to fall into it. And you don't even realize how much of a struggle you've been in, like fight or flight, right? Survival mode, because it's not where we truly belong. It's not what we were truly meant to do or be or see. And so the world was truly inverted. It became inverted, okay? An inverted reality. It was flipped upside down and backwards to the truth. All right? So you have a little visual of what is true, like a mirror. except it's a reflection. It's like upside down and backwards, kind of like what our eyes do with images to our brain. You feel me out? And so when I cleared Mount Shasta, I cut it off life support. I returned the root chakra back to Fiji, and I also returned Christ consciousness back to God. Okay? And that's real. I did that work. That was one of the first things that I did. And then I activated the pyramids all over the globe, from Indonesia, Myanmar, Machu Picchu, Budapest, Thailand, Peru, which I think Peru might be Machu Picchu. I always get those confused. There was 13 pyramids. The first ones were feminine, and then when my DM, that whole thing ensued, and I battled that and got a walk-in and so forth, and cleared the Holy Grail and all of that, then we activated the masculine pyramids. And so, but first was Mount Shasta. That was the inverted reality. All right. And that's how they would get into your energy. Not only that, they would use the elements too. If you watch my videos, I recently undid all of their portals of darkness because it's all done. Like, it's all done. And I got chills. So they would use the elements. They would use all of God to be able to get into your energy, because you are that. The universe is within you. 1111. Okay, it's in your chakra systems. You are comprised of the light of God and the universe. All right, that's what we are. We are like fragmented pieces of God and fragmented pieces of the planets and fragmented pieces of the universe, all put together into this thing we call the soul. And then we were put into this vessel we call a body. And we were given that breath of life, which God is what refers to time as breath. Breath is time. Okay, so karma was created in the inverted reality, okay, in the illusion. That's why they say it's the matrix. It's an illusion of reality. It's inverted. So they took the truth of God, the power of God, and flipped it. They inverted it. And so you're looking at this distorted version of reality that looks similar to something you know. So it's easy for you to fall prey to that, okay? But it's not truth, all right? So there's lots of distractions in that inverted reality so that you don't grow, so that you don't free yourself and flip it upside down back to where it should be and get the right perspective. Because once you do that, you're in your power, and they've lost power over you, because you'll choose love, right? Because that's God. God is not judgment. So what people don't know is they convinced you all these false realities. They want you to be afraid of karma. They want you to be afraid of God. They want you to not understand love. It's like this inverted reality. It was upside down and backwards, my friends. Literally, it's like if you're in this vase, and that's life, and all of a sudden somebody takes and goes floop and floop, and then you're like upside down and backwards. And so you get a visual of what is right, but it's all upside down and backwards. And I see a lot of spiritual, feel me out, are you with me? And I see a lot of spiritual people feeding you that, because where there is shadow, they are blinded to the light. So hear me out here. I literally see people channeling angels and beings. Now, mind you, I worked one-on-one with them through the entire return of Christ, okay? I saw things I didn't even know, and they were proven time and time again, all right? Like clearing Mount Shasta, freeing Jesus's soul, undoing the Holy Grail, which was not what you thought at all. The return of Sekhmet and Horus. Horus, my DM soul, rose out of the Sphinx and returned back to him, and I dried the Nile, and I cleared the crystalline grid, and I activated the pyramids, and I flipped the earth back on its axis, where it should be. Okay. Not only that, I shifted the poles. Not only that, I fixed the sun and the moon. I returned the language of God. I removed all darkness from the moon, which deals with my DM as well. Okay. And these are not, they told you little bits. It's like a flipped script, right? It's like upside down inversion. And so God says, we need changed perspectives. We need to flip the inversion. We need to be right side up. And then you have all these people like, I wish I found the video again, because this one spiritual chick, and I see this across the board with cut your karmic cords, burn your karma, release the shackles of karma, But they don't say it that way. It's very negative and it's very dark. And what they're doing is cutting your cords to those karmic ties. And you don't want to do that. Okay? Karma is not what's going to hurt you. Flip it. Okay? What is karma? You have to heal all karma to rise. Karma, because you have free will, is something you did outside of love because you were in an inverted reality. You feel me? Are you still with me, or did I lose you on the flipping? Did I lose you on the flip side? So there's a lot of, and people can channel spirits that are not true to who they say they are. Okay, so I see people channeling like Metatron, or not like, I don't know, different beings, and their messages are somewhat similar to truth, but it's inverted. And I'm like, can you channel a false angel? Yes. Can spirits and beings come in and pretend to be something they're not? Yes. Do you know how many people actually thought Kamala was going to win the election? I'm over here saying, Trump's going to win. I channeled that before the election, but apparently there was a lot of spiritual people who didn't think he would win. And I do mean a lot. I saw that across the board. People got angry. I thought you said they were, and these people have like hundreds of thousands of followers. And I'm like, they're in the inverted reality. They're still upside down and backwards. And so they get this mirrored image of truth, but it's not exactly it. So can you have false beings of light? Yes. And I got that lesson in my spiritual awakening. I remember one time I was channeling the angels because that was my awakening. I had a sudden Kundalini awakening, and I was seeing beings, and I was doing things I thought I was cray-cray, okay? But Spirit taught me a valuable lesson in the beginning, is that I had Archangel Michael come in, and I got used to his presence. I got used to how he felt, and he would always wrap his wings around me and help me. And because, at different points of our journey, we have different beings that will come through and help us. So it shouldn't always be the same ones. They should transition. We should grow and become more enlightened. But in the beginning, I had Michael a lot. A lot of people do. He's here to help you in the first beginning parts of your awakening journey a lot. And so I teach this in my academy for a reason, because they will try to fool you. It's a test. Okay? Who can you see? Can you really see through a lens of love and light, or are you seeing the inverted reality? Okay. And so this one time I had Archangel Michael come in, and I'm like, something felt off. First of all, I can feel the energy coming in. I can see it through waves of light. I get tingles and chills and hoo. You know what I'm saying? And like, he would always wrap his, and so this particular time I had this being come in, and he's like, I'm Michael. And I'm like, no, you're not. Something didn't feel right. It just didn't feel as high vibrational as I knew Michael to be. But there were similarities. Inverted reality. And I was like, nope. I cleared my energy, sent it away. And I was like, put up protections and cleared it and cleared it and cleared it. And took a break that day, just clearing my energy. And then the next time it was like, I was validated that it was a test. Because in the inverted reality, which I see a lot of spiritual people doing, they will channel beings that pretend to be light. Just like the shadow does to you. They took the root chakra to Mount Shasta, and they pretended that was the original root chakra. They pretended that was Christ consciousness, and it wasn't. It was actually a consciousness over darkness. They cut you off from the consciousness of Christ. Watch my videos. I cleared Mount Shasta 1 and 2, and then I did Fiji 1 and 2. Part 2 of Fiji is not on this channel. It is only in the Path to Righteousness, because God had me put the entirety of Return of Christ path in that path for those who wished to have honor and all healing through God. But for the most part, I uploaded specific things on this channel because God told me to. So after the work was done, I was recording it because he had me record them. I would do them in workshops, not knowing what was coming, right? But I just learned how to, I awoke into what I was and what I was doing and communicating with Spirit. And I saw this even for the election. Do you know how many spiritual people actually said that Trump would lose? The thing about that is there may have been timelines where he would have, but right before the election, I undid the Sistine Chapel, which freed cherubim angels that were actually trapped there, which were protection of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. Then I undid the Pentagon, power of the Pentagon through the pentagram and the money matrix right before the election. Like, it was like boom, boom, boom. And right before that, there was an attempt to stop me, and I pushed past it. I cleared those away from me I needed to. I got realigned to God and to Christ and to the energy of my path, and I pushed past all of that yuck and muck and want to quit. Like I did. I actually wanted to quit because it's been a lot of pain that I've gone through, and a lot of people not choosing love, and I got tired, and I've lost a DM on this, and I wasn't being valued, and so I did try to quit. I really did. And I picked up my big girl britches, and I pulled my shit together, and I cleared any negative people and energies from me so that I could see clearly, and I got realigned. And then right before the election, I cleared the Sistine Chapel, which I didn't see coming, just like I said. I undid the money matrix, which was through the Pentagon and the pentagram power. Then, I think it was day before yesterday, I undid the power of the pentagram and called back all elements and closed down these portals of darkness. And that is what they would use, all of that, to manipulate you. It was like this inverted reality, an inverted illusion of life. And so you were in a mirrored image of what was truth. Okay? And so karma, because you have free will, and even the shadow had to use your free will. So beings will come in and you choose to pick them up. You choose to not investigate, to not be the observer. And I talk about the importance of being the observer all the time, because if you don't sit with things, and if you just make quick decisions, they'll get you easier. Okay? They get you through fear, through ego. Ego is a false concept of the mind. Okay? Yeah, good Lord, ego is a struggle, and that's where the narcissist was developed from, right? They get you through greed. They created this money matrix where you're afraid all the time and you're in survival mode, and money became more important than love, and yada, 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 yada. They took the power of the divine abundance. They took all of the power of light and inverted your reality. They made it theirs. Okay? And so you were all trapped here. You absolutely were. And so karma is not as scary as you might think it is, but it's also not one you want to cut ties from, okay? Because nobody did it to you. Nobody created your karma for you. You did it. God didn't just say, I'm going to tether you to this karma for fun and giggles and shits and grins. No. But the shadow might make you think they did. The shadow might make you think, yeah, just cut those ties. You're not held down to karma. You have to heal your karma, because you created your karma and your family, your blueprint. We were in a karmic planet where we would come back and try to clear that karma all the time. But in order to make it into the new earth, you actually have to heal all karma. The more karma you heal, I'm going to talk about, the more karma you heal through choices of free will, you see clearer. You start to revert your reality. You start to gain new perspectives. Like in the old world, a lot of people have a hard time seeing through the lens of others' eyes. Oh, and that's kind of where I got extremely tired. I gave and gave and gave so much, and nobody valued Christ. Nobody valued what I was doing. And yeah, you have all these false perspectives, but if you're an observer, and you just observe and have a heart open to love, you can't deny what I've done. I couldn't deny it, and I've tried. I tried. Undoing the Holy Grail, come on Christmas Day, I was like, and it was my body, like it was my vessel. I was processing through that. It was insane. So I would try sometimes too, being like, I would fall prey to those people going, yeah, right. You feel me? But we were in it, and that's karma. That's how you create karma. So the shadow, that inverted reality, the false concept of love, the false truth, Mount Shasta, all of the false reality will convince you otherwise. Okay, because the moment you take your power back, they lose power of the light. You're all little pawns to their agenda. Okay, and that's what they would use. They would use Hollywood. They would use all these tools for this inverted reality. And you were their power. So they got you, they got people, mankind, to choose the false reality through fear, through greed, through ego, through fear is a big one, because most people don't want to harm people, you know what I mean? But they become afraid. Or envy and power and greed. Oh gosh, I've had people literally take my light and take my power and want my path over discovering their own. And so you have that. There's envy, there's greed, jealousy, those kinds of things. So all of those things are part of the shadow. Fear. There's fear of a false illusion that if you choose God and you choose love and you choose your sovereignty and you choose to believe that you'll be okay. You know what I mean? Like, you can create money. You call it in. You are a sovereign being of light. You have the ability to call it in. You don't need to work that 9 to 5. That's part of the matrix, okay? Granted, when you're like me and people don't want to hear you and don't support you, it gets a little scary. Like, I could be evicted any moment. But if I choose fear, because I've been so busy calling back my power, and I did give up for a minute. I truly did. Because I'm tired. But I always pull it back together, right? I always come back together. And I know I'm a creator. And I know if I choose fear, I can't call anything in. It blinds you. I know that I'm a powerful creator. I call it in. I don't force it out. I call it, my vibration has to match it. We are always manifesting, okay? And so the shadow, the inverted reality, will use this distorted illusion against you that you can't, you won't, you'll die, you'll not be able to pay your bills, you'll lose your child if you listen to God, people will think you're crazy, all this other stuff. First of all, if you know you're not cray-cray, and you know everything you're seeing is validated time and time again, and you know it's within you, and like, let them create that fear, because unless you give it power, it'll fade away the moment you're like, nay. Okay? Like, no, I know this is truth. I know this is my path. That's an illusion. And it only becomes solidified if you choose it. And that's how you create your karma. Okay? It's when the shadow brings up a temptation outside of your power and outside of your love. Outside of love unconditional. So judgments create karma. If you're afraid of people's judgments and you let that dictate your choices, you just gave your power to the shadow. You just gave your power away and created karma within a judgment realm. So if fear gets in and they're like, hey, if you do this, you're going to lose your child, or you're going to lose something like that, and you give it that power, oh gosh, I don't want to have that happen, so I back off and I don't continue my soul path, or I don't choose that love, or I give my power away to fear and say that, oh God, I don't want that to happen, so I'm not going to let that happen. I'm going to stop right here. You just gave your power away to the shadow. And now you are shackled and bound by fear. And they will use that against you time and time again, every time you try to rise back. That's why in the path to righteousness, I heal you back into your power. Okay? That's a part of it. So where you create karma is you giving your power away to the shadow. And it's through your free will. So you can either choose the path of love and light and soul growth, because that's how you clear karma, is learning lessons outside of unconditional love that you needed to learn, that you chose this lifetime or last lifetime, that your family ties are connected to. Your family is charted in to help you learn karmic lessons, not to judge them, to love unconditionally and learn where love is not. That's your way through karma, okay? You cannot cut ties to them. So in the path to righteousness, God gave that as a gift, and I can't just give it away. I've tried. Money, though, is not more important than love, okay? So God told me to charge for that. And then people made me feel bad because we're taught that money is more important and we value money more than this. It was dirty to the dirty. Okay? So ain't no thing about giving it to soul growth. Please do. You know what I'm saying? I do. You feel me? That's okay. It's okay. You're abundant. You create money. Don't let that create fear in you. See what I'm saying? You see how it works? But the moment you're like, oh, money is more valuable than that, or I need money, I've got to be controlled because I got it. This is how they trap you. And the moment you give your power away to fear, to greed, to ego, to power, to envy, to jealousy, to judgment, you create karma in those realms. And you have to realize that you're powerful. You are a powerful creator of light. So you need to call your power back and say, no, no, nay, nay. I don't care what you're going to do to me. I don't care what scenario you're poisoning me with. I'm not going to create that. Guess what? Because you're a creator. So if somebody is like, hey, if you do this, they're going to judge you and you're going to lose your kids. Be like, only if I give that power. I'm not going to let that happen. Know that you're valuable. Know that you matter. Know that your truth is your truth. Know that love is okay. Know that you have power. Raise your vibration and call that shit in and put protections around it. Because it's an illusion. It's an inverted reality that you have to choose into. And the moment you choose to listen to shadow, to things that don't feel quite right, to things that are not quite aligned with love and light, and they're in that inverted reality, you give your power away and you create that karma. Because love, sovereignty, free will is God. Okay? So we are not in judgment day, as religion will tell you, because God's also not a division. We have to be united in love with power. That's power. That's true power, is union through love. The more of us that came together in love rather than division, we would be so powerful, none of this would happen. Okay? But we get divided and scared and uncertain and confused by the inverted truth. Is this making sense? I hope you guys are following me. So there's so much inversion, and that's what God showed me today. They flipped the coin. It's like a inverted, it's an upside down and backwards reality. You've got so much going on, from it's a flat world to no, it's a round world, to Trump is evil, to wait, which side was really darkness? Like, do we really know the truth? Trump is part of the Hopi prophecy. So if you guys watch my journey, I didn't just tell you Trump was going to win. I put up protections around him and I grounded him. And he's played an important part in the return of Christ throughout my entire journey. I did things with him from the very beginning of my journey. From traveling outside of myself, to a piece of paper that I had handed him, to grounding him, to protecting him. And God literally saying his path is clear. It's just not what you think it is. Okay? So what I've done is cause things to surface, because we have to see them. You have to see the truth. You have to see the real reality. It needs to be flipped right side up for you. Okay? And that can be shocking if you ain't ready for it. So don't grab your popcorn. Don't be a spectator. That's what they want you to do. That's judgment. And you're also going to miss something important. You want to be the observer and you want to partake, because you need to heal. You need to heal and you need to grow where you were outside of unconditional love and heal your karma. Don't cut ties. You need it called forward. You need your karma to present to you. So if you cut ties and you burn those contracts like all these spiritual people to this day are trying to do to you, you can't see it to heal it. Because in order to rise into new earth, you just have to let go of what was not unconditional love. You have to learn where love was not within you. What did you give your power away to? Was it fear, money, greed, ego, jealousy, envy, judgment? Judgment's big in religion. Okay? Division. Did you give your power away to division? Or is it equality? Is it union? Is it togetherness? Is it wholeness? Is it value? The right value? Is it pushing past fear, knowing you're a creator? because the shadow is going to push hard against you. It's going to convince you these horrible things, and it's going to use your weakness to do it. And you have to be willing to say, no, something doesn't feel right. Do you know on my journey how many times it came against me? There was so much resistance to all the work that I did, from mental, emotional, physical. Dude, like my DM unfortunately tried to kill me because he was blinded. He didn't heal in time. So in order to see clearly, you have to heal all the way. Also, he made choices and free will. And you can't make somebody love. You can't make somebody heal. And you can't make somebody choose love over darkness. But in an inverted reality, it's hard not to let that fear over. I feel like fear is one of the bigger pieces, because I can go into fear right now. I have my landlord banging at my door saying, where's my rent? And I'm like, I tried to apply for 3 or 4 jobs these last 2 months because I was giving up. They were blocked. Like literally, I have a psychology degree and I can't seem to make anything work in the matrix. And I was trying to give up because where's my DM? Where's the love? It was taking a toll on me after everything I've done. And so we can all get there. We can all get tired. We can all get worn down and feel beat down. But when we're anchored into the right things, we'll be okay. So I don't choose fear. I choose to see myself in my home. I choose to see a miracle is going to come through. I choose to see that I'm going to be okay, because we're always manifesting. So what am I manifesting? Sleeping in my car on my daughter's birthday, or am I manifesting my journey coming right back around for me? Miracles, love, joy, power. I'm a creator. I will be okay. I will make it work. I will call it in. I will align to it. I am love. I am joy. I know I need to raise my vibration, because if it's low, I can't see heaven's vibrations. What are you anchored into? Okay. So there's so much inversion. It's like seeing the coin from the side of the shadow, all right? Rather than flipped to the side of love and God. Like seeing the world from an inverted perspective. Flip it to see the right side. Flip it for a clear view of reality. And you only gain a new perspective once you heal it, right? Like once you heal that, once you see like, I'm giving my power away. That's not love. I can't choose that. I choose love and I choose my power. You ain't going to take my kids from me. Fuck that. I know I'm powerful. Watch me. Where's your power? Where's your power? Do not let emotions manipulate you. Do not let fear manipulate you. That's the testaments to God. Do you need those drugs? Or can you do something else? Is there another way? There is. But it's hard to see clearly until you give yourself space and flip that inversion. Okay? That's why they don't want you being the observer, sitting back and really soaking things in. Because the moment you slow down, the moment you go within, the moment you question your reality, they lose power over you. So they keep you in a very low vibrational state of fear and a false perspective, inverted reality, inverted understanding of God, division, weakness. When we are divided, we are weaker. Because we are not in our full understanding. When we are united through love, we see some clearness. When we are imbalanced from the heart space, feelings over thoughts, we have power. And they don't want you to have that power. Okay? So the old world was a mirrored image of reality. Rather than the right side up, it was upside down and backwards. The shadow is based in inverted perspective, a false reality. And karma is created when you give your power away to the shadow. So in order to be in the new earth, you can't do that. You can no longer give your power away. You have free will, so you have to make those choices. The more choices you make in not giving your power away, standing in your power and choosing love over the resistance, God calls it. How many spiritual people do you say, ooh, that's evil? God won't let me say that. There is no evil. right? It's just blindness, shadow, love, light, or darkness. Okay? And so the perspective needs to shift. We need to shift perspectives. We need to stop focusing on death, bloodshed, carnage, low vibrational fear, ego, judgment, money. And I need to be over here focusing on love, joy, balance, God, happiness, alignment, clarity, observation. Observation is what just came into my energy, a high vibration, or is it a distraction? If it's a distraction, if it's based in fear and a lower vibration, get the hell on out of it. Clear it. Nope. Do not create it, because you're always manifesting. So the shadow will get in and say, hey, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. You're not worthy. It's fear mongering. It's low self-esteem. It's going to hit you where your wounds are. That's why you need to heal your wounds. And that's why you need to have all karma with you, so that you can choose to rise. You have to choose to rise. And so if you know what I'm saying, like if you're like, well, I don't have money, or money is more important. If I sit here and think about money the whole time, I'm going to drown. If I think about living in a car and where am I going to go to the bathroom, and people not seeing the value in the work that I did, what am I creating? It's a choice. You are a powerful creator. You manifest it. You call it in through love. You need to match the vibration of love and joy and balance from the heart space. Not cutting ties, because karma is not punishment to you. Karma is just you giving your power away to the things that were outside of you, because God isn't here. And so you want the blessing of healing your karma, rather than throwing at me, there is no karma, or just cut the ties, burn the contracts. You don't realize what you're doing. That's the inverted perspective. God isn't here to judge you. But I will tell you right now that in the work that I did, undoing the Sistine Chapel, bringing down the blood of Christ, undoing the Holy Grail, undoing the Emancipation Proclamation, all of those things that they lied to you about and fed you of untruth, what they did to Adam and Eve, Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and Sekhmet and Horus, has a karmic kickback. And if you give your power away to that side, you anchor into it, and you don't deserve to be a part of that karmic kickback unless you want to be. Unless you want to be, because you have free will. So I don't want to make you do anything. But if you give your power away to fear, there's karmic kickback in money. There's karmic kickback in everything that they did, because they have to pay for what they've done. That's how God works. Right? You are a creator. So if you create carnage and sadness and sorrow and death and bloodshed and division and taking the power of God and using all God's light for pain and sorrow and your power, and if you think there's not a karmic kickback for that, I don't know what to tell you. Because God says, I give you free will, and so you will learn your lessons through what you sow. You reap what you sow. So karma is not a punishment. Karma is not something you should be afraid of or want to get rid of. It's a way to go, you know what? Where was love not? And where was I giving my power away? Show me that. And so today, when something rises, are you going to choose love? Are you going to choose that money is just a tool? And it was one that was used for a lot of darkness? And to not give our power away to any of it. Call your power back and feel grateful to heal your karma once and for all, so that you and your loved ones can rise to new earth, to be whole again under the light of God, because God is within you. And so it's you healing what was not love to rise back to God. It's you not giving your power away because you are a powerful light of the one. And where the shadow gets in to create fear, and it's trying to do it to me every day. I get it. It gets in my head and it tells me all these things, especially about my twin flame. And, it's constant. And I can choose to pick it up. I can choose to go into a low state. Or I can choose that it's not light and it's not love. And I put it down, I clear it out, raise my vibration, and choose what I'm going to create in love and light and power and wonderment. I will not be evicted. I will not choose fear. I will not blame anybody else for my karmic playout and where I gave my power away. Everything is a reflection of me. That way I can heal my karma, because my vibration is going to call in what matches my vibration. And so I'm going to look at everything and go, okay, what am I doing to call that in? That's something I need to heal now. Now I'm going to heal it in the moment it rises. When fear rises, I need to stop and clear it out, because it's going to blind you. Fear is not of God. And people will tell you that it has a purpose. It doesn't really, because when you're in your full power and you're in balance from the heart center, you're not afraid of anything. You're not afraid of death and you're not afraid of life, because it's inevitable. But you can hear clearer. You can see clearer. And so you can redirect yourself when necessary, if you're not afraid. Do bad things happen sometimes? Yes. But that's not necessarily fear. So we had an inverted perspective, and we need the correct one. Karma is not a bad thing, and it's not a punishment. It's your choices that you've made. And granted, the shadow is good at manipulating your free will, because they make you afraid, they make you divided, they make you blinded, they lower your vibration, and then it's this survival mode. And it's hard to see clearly. Like even on the crisis line, when I worked the crisis line, when somebody is completely in survival mode, in crisis, they can't see. And you'll have people judge them. You'll have people want to commit them and medicate them and lock them up, but they really truly can't see in that moment. And the moment I can get them to slow down and sit with me, and I'm not afraid of them, and they realize that I'm not judging them, they sit, and I will sit with them. I don't want to medicate them. I want to get them to take a deep breath in with me. I want to get them to soothe with me. I want to get them to be in the moment with me, right here and right now. And the moment I get them there, changes everything. So do you want to think ahead and do you want to think behind? Or do you want to use everything that rises in the moment to go, okay, let's observe this. What do I do with this? Is it love? Is it my power? Or am I giving my power away because I'm a creator? I deserve recognition. I deserve love. I deserve value and to be right? And I deserve abundance. I don't deserve to be homeless. I know my rights as a soul of God. I know my power as a creator. So I'm not going to pick this up no matter how scary it gets. And there's also this resistance, like so afraid I can't move. I keep hearing that today. And it might be my DM, I don't know. But there is like this so much fear, it's making me immovable. Like I can't move. And what can you do when you get there? What can you do when something seems so hard to see and so overwhelming you can't move? Because the shadow wants you there. You need to clear it out. Clear your energy, get grounded, and push through that resistance. Do it. No matter how hard it seems, because that's an illusion that you give it power to. We don't have time to procrastinate. Tomorrow doesn't exist and yesterday is gone. The only thing you have is right now. And your power as a creator. So what are you going to create? The inverted reality of fear, judgment, illusion, ego, greed. That's how you create your karma. Because you're doing things outside of your power and outside of unconditional love. That's how karma's created. So in order to rise, that's why we have to heal all of that, because we can't take that with us. You can't be giving your power away to something that's not God, to an inverted reality, in order to align with God. That just doesn't make sense. So it's not about punishment. It's about the right perspective. It's about the right vibration. And it's about being able to choose love and your power over everything, no matter how scary it may be. Because I'm a creator. Are you with me? Do you choose to create love, joy, happiness, no matter what is happening to you? Can you clear out the fear? Because that's going to block everything. Can you push through that? Can you push through that resistance and take actions to make sure you stay in balance? Let's do it. Because that's how you rise. That's why God gave you the path to righteousness, because it calls all your karma forward. But what the hell when you have all these people either saying there is no such thing as karma, which is scary, because then what is life? You think God just hands you everything? Nobody's carrying you. You have free will. You create. Karma is just where you gave your power away and chose things outside of love. So all you got to do is push past that resistance, which is where you gave your power away, and choose love no matter what they try to convince you is going to be created, because you are a creator. Are you with me? Which reality are you in? The inverted one that can't see if it's a dark entity or light? Or one that's more observing, that clears out what is not a high vibration so they can see clearly. They don't throw things at others. I hope this helps you understand karma more, because you have to heal all karma to rise, and God is not here to judge you. But there is a karmic demise. Judgment day is you reap what you sow day. It's about justice to what was done. You don't use God's light to create pain, and that's what they did. They used God's light and created a lot of hurt, and that's not God. So there is a karmic kickback. They have to reap what they sow. Justice has to be served for what was done. That's what you do. You have free will. You choose anything you want to choose, but it doesn't mean it's going to zoom, 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 circle back around until you learn the lesson and grow as a soul. And then you up level as a soul, and you get closer to the whole of God. The more you choose love over all of those temptations outside of it, fear, ego, judgment, money, all those things, you get closer to God. Your vibration rises. You can see clearer. You get more power because you're in your power. Do you want to be a part of their karmic kickback? Because there is one. Do you know how much pain it caused me to get back to who I am? And how much pain and suffering it took to clear it all? It was painful. What was done was painful. What they've done to mankind is not right. That's painful. And to use God's light to do it, to use God's light to hurt, to cause bloodshed, to cause division, to cause confusion, to cause fear, to use the power of the divine feminine abundance to cause chaos and greed. Let me tell you, there's a karmic kickback. And I'm telling you, you don't have to be a part of it. Call your karma forward. Call your power back. Heal it all and rise above and say, thank you, God. I'm free. You promised me I would be, and this is my path home. Own your sovereignty. You created the karma by giving your power away. Even if it's hard, don't do it anymore. Even if it's scary, it's an illusion. And if you give your power to it, you'll create that scenario. Trust me. Trust me. So even the smallest things like a thought or a vision, if it's not love and joy and happiness and power and abundance, don't pick it up. If you don't believe in yourself, heal the wound that got you there. Because you should. You're love. And you matter. I matter. You matter. What I've done matters, and what you've done matters. Don't let anything or anyone convince you otherwise. So much love, my friends. I hope this helps you. Until next time, stay humbled. Stay love. Ride the path of the sun. Soul path alignment. Growth. Learning what was not love. Learning where you gave your power away. And don't do it anymore. Choose what God tells you to choose, even if it's scary. Even if somebody comes and tries to bite you. Let them bite at you, but they'll get nothing but air unless you give them that meat. You know what I mean? More meat puns. I'll see you later.